Hello, my little lovebirds. TonyaTko here. And I'm coming out and I'm making this video specifically and especially for men. This is a conversation that kind of is a spin-off of a conversation, a very intense conversation that we had last night on my Facebook page. If you're not on my Facebook page, come on over. It's a great way to come into contact with me, and we get into we get into some pretty interesting conversations over there. I post up topics, and I'm an active member on the page, and you can come by and you can have a read, take a look at some of the stuff that we talk about, etc. For the time being, I'm on Facebook, but eventually I will be migrating over to my own website so that we could have some more of these heated discussions, in a more, I don't want to say open, but I get suspended a lot on Facebook. My days are numbered. I don't know why. Okay. Let's just keep moving forward. I was gonna stop the video, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. All right. Normally I take all of these notes and I go step by step, and I have my board that I'm going to bring out in a few moments. The reason that I'm making this video is because listen. I love men. I do. I love my brothers. I love. You know what? There's just. Men are very special, and they are a needed part of society and of our lives. And it pains me to see a lot of the misconceptions and the miscommunication between the genders, and it's like there's this new launched war, and it's painful to see. And you know what? I don't I used to dub myself the love guru, and I've since changed that because I'm more of a big sister anyway. So now I'm the internet's #1 big sister, and I like that a lot better. But most of my videos are about loving yourself. People think that I give dating advice. I don't give dating advice. I give love advice. If you look through my videos, I talk about loving yourself, etc. You know what? Let's take a quick caveat. This is the book that I am in the process of writing, Lessons of a Motherless Child, 10 Crucial Secrets about Love, Sex, and Self-Esteem I learned the hard way so that you don't have to. And so in doing this video today, we're going to talk about how not to be a simp or a trick. Okay, and part of the reason that I'm doing this video is because of an argument that we started getting into over a quote by Tariq Nasheed. And I don't know if this is his exact quote. I don't know if he endorses this message. I've heard some of his videos in the past, and he seems to make sense. There's some things that are kind of borderline, but everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I think that the way things stand today, we have an overabundance of men giving advice on one side to the men, on how to be players, and then, to the women on how to keep a man. And those things are completely contradictory. And unfortunately, it seems that when men go out seeking advice, that they go out seeking advice on how to trick women out of, sex, how to trick their way into vagina, how to, mesmerize women into dropping their drawers. It's so vulgar, isn't it? Dropping their drawers. I used to hate that saying when I was young. But anyway, so it's all about how to get inside the panties, and then at the end of the day, what does that really prove? What does that really do? Where does that really get you as a human being? So when people think that I give dating advice, I give love advice, how to get to the lowest common denominator, which is love. When you start loving yourself, it all spreads out and emanates from that right there. I'll read the quote for you, even though I don't want to. The quote goes, if you've been dating a woman for 3 months, for 3 or more months, and you have to spend money buying something, paying for something, etc., every time you see her, then you are her trick. End quote. I don't know if that's, listen, I don't know if that's a real quote from him. I can only hope that it's not, because there's no qualifying in there, you know. And this, oh God, listen, I know and I understand that this is a huge task to tackle. So there are just so many different things in there, so many things that are wrong with that statement. You know, number one, there are no qualifiers in it. You know, is it mandatory that you spend money? You know, how is the person treating you? What's going on in the relationship? Dating? How, you know, 3 months with the way things are nowadays. People go out on dates on the weekend. 3 months, you know, that's 12 dates. You know, so it's like, and then also the man is out on the dates too. It's like they discount the man's experience in the dating process too, as if it's something only for the woman, that she only benefits from that. And this is part of the reason that I'm doing this video. So let's my heels are stuck on the back of the chair. So let's get started. Let's get started. You guys ready? All right. How not to be a trick or a simp. The reason why this comes up is because yesterday on my Facebook page I told a story. Years ago I visited England, and you guys know, before I started TKO Skin, where I'm at right now, the TKO Skin production law, before I started TKO Skin and before I became TonyaTko, etc., I used to travel, and whenever I would travel I would spend at least a month in the place that I go to travel. So I spent a month in England. When I was in England, I met this guy. Oh, goodness, he was so handsome, and he was so sweet, and he was so nice, and he took me all over England, out on the town, took me to all different parts, out to eat every night. And it was like, well, every night that we went out, we were eating, we were having fun. He took me out with his friends. He even played like soccer on this, like he played football on this team. He took me out to his team. I met his mother and his sisters. And by the end of my trip, he even invited me to stay in his house. Not only that, he had taken me shopping. It was, when I told this story, right, I was just remarking on the story, because, you know, some of the guys, they were coming out talking about how they don't want to spend money on dates and this, that, and the other, and that women are using them and blah, 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 etc., etc. And I told this story about this guy that I went out with, and how he took me shopping, and how I to this day, I still have one of the jackets that he bought me, and I cherish it. It's amazing, right? And someone came out and said, and you know what, even for him to say this about this person hurts my feelings. He said that the guy sounded like a simp. So I'm like, and I'm like, no, honey, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. And I see where there's like this disconnect, where people, they, you know, I think that men, I think you guys are just not getting it, you know. And this is the reason why I'm doing this video. People say you can't really, that a woman can't really give men, you know, dating advice or whatnot. And I don't know if this would be considered dating advice. You know, I want to talk to you as a human being, as a man, and as a woman. I'm on the other end of it, and I want you to be happy, because you being happy, you know, makes the whole world happy. You being happy makes a woman happy. Woman being happy makes you happy. Then there are more little babies brought into the world. Okay, maybe I'm going too far. Maybe I'm going too far. Okay, let's rewind. Okay, let's scratch the babies. That'll come later. As long as they're all being taken care of, right? Okay, so listen, let's talk about this situation. Was this person a simp? And what was the difference between him and a person who is a simp? Now, for those of you who don't know what a simp is, I guess a simp is a sorry wimp who's soft, and he, you know, he's a pushover, and he got no respect, blah, blah, blah. Let's get the board out, okay? Come on, let's go get it. Okay. Oh, Lord, you know what? All right, listen. I wrote everything out so that we could move quickly. But nothing ever happens as planned. You know what? After all of this time, all these years with this broken board, I finally bought a new one. Because, you know, I'm tired of this thing falling apart in my videos. Look at this. This is supposed to hold this down. Oh, Lord, I don't want my breast to rub the stuff off the board. So let's just move forward. All right. This video is so horrible. All right. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's just keep going. All right. Here we go. So, what's the difference? Because I said this guy was a prince. You know, he was a Prince Charming. My goodness. So, what's the difference between a simp and a prince? Got my marker. I had a red one. Here it is. All right. Let's go over this. I pre-wrote these to save time, and then the board fell down. All the time was lost. All right, listen. The difference between a simp and a prince. They both spend money. They both cater to the woman. They both put her first. They both spoil her. They both give her attention, gifts, and they go all in. But then what is the key difference? And herein lies the key difference right here. Let's talk about it. You get my notes. That was so embarrassing. I wish I could push that out of my mind and out of your mind too. All right, here we go. The difference between the simp and the prince is the prince, number one, there's a connection. Number two, she's attracted to him. Okay, number three, she wants to be with him. So she wants him. And number four, he has self-esteem. Can you guys see this? Let me write bigger. Self-esteem. Can you see that? Okay, wonderful. Self-esteem. And then number five, respect. The guy, oh, you know what? After I get all of these on the board, I'm going to talk about all of that. Okay, great. Five differences between a prince and a simp. What is it that would make a man who does all of these things? Because you know what, people think that ladies like for men to be mean and all this. Oh, woman, well, please. Look at this romance novel. Woman wants to be, she's waiting to be swept off her feet. My goodness. But what's the difference? Number one, the two people have a connection. They've bonded. They have stuff in common. They vibe with one another. They have a connection. Number two, she's attracted to him. She's physically attracted to him, attracted to his personality, and which goes in line with number three. She wants to be with him. She's calling him. She's answering the phone when he called. She's reciprocating. That should be on the list. Reciprocity. You know what? And then also self-esteem on both people's part. He has self-esteem. You know what? Listen. Let me put self-esteem and respect on the same line so that I can get reciprocity down on line number 5. So he has self-esteem and she has self-esteem. Let me explain something to you. I did not feel that this guy did this stuff because, or the guy that I met in England, the prince, not a real prince, but you know, I didn't feel that he did that stuff because he felt like he wasn't worth it. I felt like he did that stuff because he knew that I was. And I felt that I was. My self-esteem was intact, and he behaved in a manner that indicated that his self-esteem was intact too, so that I felt that I was coming into contact with a prize. Listen, let's pause for a moment. Let's pause. All right. I did a video, 7 things to look for in a good woman. I'm going to put the link around here. I did another video I did 2 videos on Do Good Girls Like Bad Boys, and that nice guys don't finish last, chumps do. You need to watch those videos, and you need to become acquainted and familiar with what some of the problems are. So then here we go. He had self-esteem, and I respected him. He respected himself, and he treated me in a respectful manner. And because I have respect for myself, and because because my self-esteem is intact, I know that I'm worth all of this. I don't see this and be like, oh, something must be wrong with him because he's doing that. I'm saying, no, 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 no. Something is right with him because he understands. He recognizes value, and he understands it. And then, number 5, reciprocity. The situation is reciprocal. Let's talk about that, because I think that's where a lot of men fall down by the wayside. Give me just one moment, please. All right. My board is gone. Okay. With the reciprocity, all 5 of those things, I think that that's where a lot of men fall down by the wayside. I think that there's a disconnect that starts at home, whether there was no father present, or whether or not the advice that the father gave to the son was more about how to get panties and not really how to keep. Let's not even go, before we talk about keeping a woman, qualifying a woman. What is it that, you know, what is it that the woman brings into your life as a human being? You know, I made the statement on Facebook because I was engaged in this argument last night, in the throes of it, but I wasn't really getting through to some people, and I decided, you know, that I would go to bed, because it was like, I don't like to talk in circles. So I let the people who, you know, are vibing with one another with their controversial views speak amongst themselves. So I said, you know what, I'm going to bed. And somebody said, you know what, well, even after you leave, the conversation will rage on. And guess what? After I left, guess what happened to the conversation? The conversation died. It evaporated. It halted instantaneously. The moment I left the conversation, it ended. And I wanted, and I made mention of this, and people felt that I was being arrogant when I made mention of this. My contribution to the conversation was immeasurable. People enjoyed reading what it was that I had to write. People, listen, I go in on my comments too. If you ever want to fight with me, just come over. I be fighting. No, but honestly, listen to what I'm saying. All jokes aside, every human being is not created equal. Every person is different, and everybody brings something different with their personality, you know, to the table, with their strengths and their weaknesses and what's complementary to what's going on in your life. Everybody brings something different to the table, and people and women are not interchangeable. I made the statement that they're not like dollies. You don't just pop the head off of one and put it onto another and it's the same thing. It's not. Every single woman is different. Every woman has a background. She has a set of, listen, 365 days of the year times however many years that person is in age. That's how many different days of experiences this person has gone through, how many different things they've seen and been through, how they've educated themselves, where they've gone, what they've seen, how they speak, how they nurture you, the interactions that you guys have. Every woman is different. And I think that men have to spend more time qualifying a woman, kind of really delving in, because the dating process is for you too. The dating process is not a time where you make it rain and you throw money up, living outside of your means. No, that's not what that date, trying to get some skins. That's not what dating is about. If you're, see the difference between playing for grabs and playing for keeps. If you're playing for keeps, it's a whole different ball game. If you're just out there, you know, going on dates trying to get some sex, I implore you, save your money. Spend it on a prostitute. Go to the whorehouse. My New York accent, whorehouse. Lord. go to the whorehouse and go rent a girl if you just want some vagina. But if you're dating for the long run, you know, if you're really trying to make a connection, you know, invest some time in getting to know this person. That's what the dating process is all about. And women, if there are women who are watching this video, I implore you, take your time with dating. The whole purpose of dating is to give you guys an opportunity to come into contact with one another in neutral settings before the person comes into your house, you know, just 1-2 steps away from your bedroom. You know, before they're granted entrance into your home and into your bedroom, take some time to get to know them on neutral ground. And you know, people start talking about the independence, excuse me, people start talking about the independence of women, etc., etc., and how they're making their own money now. That's not what it's about. You know, men and women are still biologically different. And if you look, let's just take one quick segue to talk about the animal kingdom and evolution in the animal kingdom. If you look at all species, if you look at the species of animals, if you look at the peacocks, the deer, if you look at if you look around the oh, we talk about this so much. The female of the species is the one that has the larger, fewer sex cells. And the male of the species is the one who has the more abundant, smaller sex cells. And the way it has evolved in the animal kingdom, the men are the ones who have the antlers. They're the ones who have the big, you know, flashy peacock feather tail. Because all throughout the animal kingdom, it is a natural part of the mating process where the men compete for access to the women. They compete for access to procreation. They put up their plumes. They take their antlers and they're butting and fighting one another to be able to mate, etc. And in the animal kingdom, you know, the way some men are making it seem nowadays is if a woman expects for a man to have a stable job, that she's some sort of gold digger, you know, and oh, you know what, gosh. And the thing is that I think that a lot of the problems that we have nowadays would be alleviated if women did have higher standards. You know, the fact that there are so many broken homes in the black community. What are they saying? 70% of the children born in the black community are born out of wedlock to unwed mothers. You know, it's like, on the one hand, we're like, oh, these women are gold diggers and they're expecting too much and all this, that, and the other, but they're getting impregnated by men who don't have the means or choose not to support their children. And it's like, there has to be some standard. You know, there has to be some sort of criteria before it even gets into the whole sex stage. There needs to be some sort of narrowing down process where, look, if worse comes to worse, will this person even be able, does this person exhibit the characteristics of a person who will uphold their responsibilities? You know, it's not, there's just, you know what, I didn't want to go into all of that. That's another topic for another day. I don't want this to be another hour-long video because I'm making this for men, and men have, you know, issues with their concentration sometimes, but I'm hoping that the people who want the information will spend the time, you know, investing and listening to the video. Because when Tariq Nasheed speaks, people are listening for hours on end. But I talk and they're like, oh, you're speaking too much. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. Take your time during the dating process. Dating is for men as well as women. And you know, it doesn't have to be some big, elaborate, expensive date. Date within your means. Qualify the person that you're dating. Take it in stages and in steps. You know, there's just, wow. There's so much, because on the one hand we have you know, fathers that are not really telling their sons what it is to look for in a woman, so that the only thing that they're really looking for is, you know, whether or not she has a nice smile or she's pretty or whatnot, but this woman has to be compatible with you. And it's, you know, and it's during the dating process that you ask those questions, that you listen to yourself, that you listen to your gut as a man about whether or not this woman is vibing with you. Is she calling you back? Is she available when you want to see her? Does it seem like something's going on? Does it seem like, you know, and before you listen, before you go out dropping lots of dough, just think about the interactions that you have with this person, the connection that you have with this person. Is it reciprocal? You know, does she, because listen, hey, if I go out there right now and I'm like, I got free vagina for whoever wants it, but you know how many people would jump at the opportunity, and you know how many people would come back time and time again just to hit it, until they don't want to hit it anymore, until I'm all used up to them, or they get bored, or I start to ask for too much or whatever. So it's like, yeah, people love being on the gravy train. You know, I'm not the type of person that if I don't like a guy, I won't have him spend his money on me. I will not. I will stop that instantaneously. You know, and listen, if you see my wallet on a date, you know I'm not interested. I don't Dutch what? No. I don't listen. How did I get on that segue? But listen, but what I'm truly saying is that you have to figure out, before you keep your wallet flying open and before you start taking the big tickets, just like before a woman flies open her entire leg hole, before you go and you do that, you need to at least make sure that you have the connection with a person that warrants taking spending to the next level. You know, that warrants having you dole out your attention and your time on her as well. You know, what are the interactions like? Like I said, people love to be on the gravy train. Listen, if the getting is good, if you're spending money, you're throwing it up in the air and it's raining all over the place and people out in the clubs and they're catching your dollars, okay, that's a bit dramatic. But I'm saying, if you have no pre-qualifying requisites besides her having a vagina, hey, listen, what else does she need to have besides a vagina? If all you're looking for in a mate, if you don't really know what it is that you need this woman to have, if all you're really looking for is a vagina, look, every woman has that. What more after that? So it's like, to her, if you have no pre-qualifying or no prerequisites before you start spending your money, shoot, listen, if she could get some shoes, she'll get some shoes, a handbag, or whatever. But I implore you, brother, listen, have a connection with that woman. I love some women who, I love getting gifts. I do. But I only like getting meaningful gifts from people who I have a connection with. I don't take those big ticket items unless, you know, they're caveats. You know, I don't play nice guys, but listen, chess is chess. If the bad boy want to play the game, listen, let's put the pieces down on the board. Queen always got the moves. Okay. On a serious note, though, you have to spend some time investigating what it is that you need as a human being. What is it that you'd like for this woman to have besides a vagina? You know, because when you meet the right woman, you'll know it. It'll make all of the frustration that you had in the past, you know, it'll evaporate and erase all of that. But you have to stay strong and you have to stay diligent to the process. You know, it's like when we think about any number of things, you know, learning how to drive, learning how to use a computer. Oh, you know, let's use an example. Let me give you an example. I have an Android. It's shiny, isn't it? I have an Android. I picked up someone's iPhone. The I picked up someone's iPhone, and I really didn't know what to do on it. I didn't know where the different keys were, etc. I even picked up another person's Android, and I was like clicking around, and I didn't really know where to go. You know, there are so many different phones out there with, even with the same, even if it has the same, my phone is talking, even if it has the same operating system, the keys and the buttons and everything are in all different places. You know, so when you start talking about, you know, how you learn to drive a car, how you this, that, and the other, how you learn to ride a bike, or how you learn to use a computer, you know, there was a certain set of experiences that you had to go through, and investigation that you had to do. And then every phone is different, every woman is different, you know. And who was it that taught you how to love, how to be in a relationship? You know, a lot of us are launched and propelled out there into the world, and we don't really know how to interact. You know, people, they just especially with men, they just throw the boys out there, you know, giving them some advice on how to get vagina. But after that, you know, how do you get the woman that you want to get? As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm doing a seminar in New York the weekend of April 28th. On April 27th, I'm going to have the women come out, and we're going to talk for that day. I'm going to have some experts come out. The weekend of, and then on April 28th, on that Sunday, I'm going to have, you know, some stylists. I want the men to come out. I'm going to have some stylists come out, talk to the men, you know, give you guys some fashion tips. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about interrelating and stuff like that, so that we could end some of these misconceptions. Get on the list. I'm going to put the link below. Tickets are on sale now. The early bird special tickets are on sale now. But you know, I think I'm going to wrap up this video. If there's anything that I hope that I relayed, is that the difference between a simp and a prince is the connection that you share with the woman. Is she into you? Does she like you? Is she just there, you know, for the goodies? What is it that you know about her? How is it that you feel, you know, when you're with her? Is it hard to get in touch with her? Are you spending money on her because you want to, or because you feel that you have to, because if you don't spend it, she won't pay any attention to you? You know, people ask me about the person in England, whether or not I would have been, you know, hanging out with him if he wasn't spending all that money, blah, 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 etc. Number one, I really enjoyed his personality. He told me he was a solicitor. And I did not know what that was, but it sounded very worrisome to me. I was like, soliciting? I didn't even want to ask him questions about that, you know. But there was something about the way that he carried himself. He said he was a solicitor. You know what a solicitation is? There was something about the way that he carried himself, the respectful way in which he spoke with me, and the way that he treated me, and the way that other people treated him, and the way he treated other people. He was very well mannered. He cared for his mother. His mother spoke to him with respect. He loved his sisters, and when he spoke to me, he made a lot of sense. He talked to me like a human being, and he treated me like a human being. And when we first started hanging out, we went out for like some tea or something, just talking and kicking it. Listen, I was only going to be there for a month. Would things have been the same were I going to be there for quite some time, if it weren't an international thing? You know, this is what I'm saying, case by case. Every woman is different. Every woman brings something different to the table. Every connection between two different people are different. You know, just like you have to take the time out to learn how to use a new phone, you have to take the time out to learn the ins and outs of a person. How does it feel in your hand? How do you like? Does it gravitate towards you? Do you guys have a real connection? Connection with my phone. I love you. But what I'm saying is that I hope you understand what I'm saying. I know that's a stupid analogy, but I want to impress upon that point. And I'm going to get off of this video. I love you guys very much. If you have any questions, please write them below. You know, I'm doing this really only to educate. Really, I'm doing this to educate because there's so many misconceptions. It doesn't have to be a war. Because at the end of the day, the lowest common denominator, whether I'm giving you dating advice or relationship advice or advice on self-esteem, the lowest common denominator has to be love. When you get down to truth, that's the when you get down, when you weed away everything, it all has to come back down to love. Is what you're doing most loving to you, to the world around you, to the people out there? What you put out, would you want to get that back? You know what I mean? So it's like, before you take advice from anybody, think about it and see how it feels and how it resonates with you. Is this making you better or bitter? You know that whole, if you've been dating a woman for 3 or more months and you have to spend money every time you see her, then you're her trick. How much money are we talking about? And then what is the intent? Is there sex going on in exchange? Is she not doing anything? Do you guys have no connection? Who is this woman? Is it just a sexual relationship in which you bring gifts and you get sex in return? Or are you seriously and truly trying to get to know this person? And then what, money? Coffee, tea, ordering something in, buying a pizza, going for a walk, a few dinners here and there. And remember, you're on those dates too. This is experiential, not just for her, but for you too. You're sitting in the ambiance of that restaurant, trying to get to know a person just like she's trying to get to know you. So ask the tough questions. I did a video, 10 questions to ask your mate. Ask the tough questions. See where she's going in life. See where her head is at. Because believe me, if the only reason that you're trying to get with a woman is for vagina and for free long-term housekeeping, I implore you, a housekeeper is $15 an hour. A prostitute, you can get a blowjob, I'm sure, for 50 bucks. You can even have intercourse, I'm sure, for 100, depending on which city you're in. You know, so it's like, if all you're interested in is housekeeping and hand jobs, you could pay for that. But if you really want to find a connection so that after a long day, because you know what, listen, holidays just passed. Some of you players spent the holidays alone. When you looked around in your place, you had nobody there to comfort you, to hug you, nobody to talk to after a long day's work, nobody to share with. And you know, people make it seem like men are supposed to be ice cold, like none of this stuff is supposed to matter to them. Ladies, listen, you don't even know. You don't even know how soft and beautiful and wonderful you are. How some man right now would love to hug you, to be comforted by you. You know, some of these men, once they leave their house, good God Almighty, once they're out of their mother's home, some of them have not been hugged in months. Months. Some of them go with no intimate contact, like no true intimacy, like bam, boom, boom, hitting it from the back or whatever, squirting and then pulling up your pants and running out. No true intimacy. You know, at the end of the day, you know, where does that really leave you? You know, when your hair starts falling out, when you got the pimples that need popping on your back, when your toenails are jagged. When something great, when you get that promotion and you want to burst and tell somebody about it, when you need a hug in the middle of the night, where's that? Do you know what I mean? Where's you have a house, but is it a home? You know, where are you going? Where are you moving towards? If you get injured, who's going to come visit you in the hospital? We talked about the guy. Remember, we spoke about that a few months ago in the video. You get injured, who will come visit you? Something happens to you, who's going to come check up on you? If you fell down in your apartment right now, broke something, or a bookshelf fell on you, how long would it be before someone came to look for you? And then if you were injured, who would really care? If you were on crutches, who's going to come and give you some soup? If your leg is splintered, it's like, you know what? There's so much. So much. But you know what? We had a hard conversation today. Let's hug. I love you. I do. And I'd love your comments below. And you know what? I can only hope that from my demeanor and the way that I've relayed this video, that you know that I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. I am your big sister. And I'm here because I care about you. Oh! The bell ringeth. Let's hug. And I gotta run. I love you guys. Love, 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 love. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, love yourself. All of my links below for Twitter, for Facebook, for everything, for my book, for the seminar. All of it is below. Come hook up with you. Gotta go. I gotta go. All right. I'll talk to you later. TonyaTko, and I'm out. Peace.